We are in Huwei. Why are we in Huwei? Well, Huwei is a very important city in central Taiwan, and it is the crux of Taiwan's sugar industry. And we're going to be talking about that today, and we're going to be chasing some trains around the countryside. It's going to be fun. So in front of me is Huwei Sugar Refinery and the marshalling yard here where they bring in the sugar harvest on the trains. Huwei Sugar Refinery was established by the Japanese. It's one of 42 refineries around Taiwan. This one was of particular importance because as well as refining sugar, it made several byproducts, for example, paper, molasses, and also ethanol. So this got heavily bombed during the Second World War by the Allies. This sugar mill was commissioned in 1908, 1907, 1908, so that was the days before steam. That was push carts and oxen. There's an example of one of the engines that would have plied the tracks before diesel came along and replaced them in the 1960s. Diesel engines were brought from Kawasaki in Japan and also Daimler in Germany. The sugarcane's planted throughout the year and it's grown throughout the summer. And then in the winter months between December and March, the sugar is harvested, it's on tractors, and then it's transported by rail to the sugar factory for processing. Just look how beautiful it is. Big sky, lovely green sugar canes. Fantastic. Sugarcane is a non-native plant to Taiwan, and it was introduced about 400 or 500 years ago. It's difficult to imagine the huge role that the sugarcane industry played in Taiwan's development, both economically and culturally. The legacy of the sugarcane industry lives on. Towns, cities, ports, infrastructure have all been built up along the 3,000 kilometers of old track which crisscross Taiwan. At its peak, the sugarcane industry in Taiwan during the 1950s and the 1970s accounted for almost 80% of Taiwan's total agricultural exports. That's a huge amount. That rivaled Cuba and India.
The beautiful red and yellow locomotive that you've been seeing in this video is a diesel locomotive manufactured in Germany in 1979 by Daimler. It was one of 91 locomotives exclusively manufactured for Taiwan Sugar Corporation. It's 230 horsepower and capable of pulling 600 tons of sugarcane.
It's difficult to imagine that just 20 to 25 years ago, scenes like the one behind me were a very common sight in central and southern Taiwan. Trains trundling through the countryside on the way to the refineries. But now, the only place you can see this is in Huwei.
Now 600 tons of sugarcane obviously makes for a very long train, which is why the carriages are painted black and yellow. As the trains traverse the countryside, they obviously cross a lot of roads, there's a lot of level crossings, so the yellow and black squares make these trains very easy to see for cars and motorcycle riders.
And this is what we came here to see, the last remaining sugar cane line in Taiwan, used for its original purpose of transporting sugarcane from the fields to the refinery. Now this line is only 25 kilometers long, out of a previous 3,000 kilometer network spanning from central Taiwan down to southern Taiwan. That is an immense network for such a small island. Now, to put that into perspective, the Taiwan Railway Authority and high-speed rail combined only reach 1,691 kilometers in length. 3,000 kilometers of narrow gauge railway. These gauges, 2.6 feet or 762 millimeters. 3,000 kilometers of it. This truck is now going to tip all of the sugarcane that's just been harvested into the wagon. And then several times a day, a sugar train will come along, collect the wagons up and take them back to the refining mill. Now I'm at this abandoned station. It's rather like a bus stop. Aside from just sugarcane transportation, Taiwan Sugar Railways offered a passenger service, a limited passenger service, with single car trains. And you just wait at the bus stop like this, or train station like this, and the train would come along and pick you up so you could go between the villages or to the sugar refineries themselves. And I was just thinking how great it would be if you could just jump on the train like they did in the old days. The kids used to go to school on the train sometimes, just hop onto the back. People went between villages. It must have been a pretty great time. Yeah, unfortunately, we won't be able to do that because it's a little bit dangerous and we'll probably get told off. So no riding trains today. Just jump on that. I'll see you later, yeah? There's no handholds. Slow down, man, don't worry. Well, it looks like our camera guy just couldn't quite keep up. It must have been his insanely colourful t-shirt holding him back. It must have been quite nice to sit on a moving cane train and watch the world go by as you travelled from village to village, or from home to school. And I know a few old-timers in Taiwan, the romanticised way of life these sugar trains gave people. Well, they certainly give people memories, that's for sure. And as I sit here on top of the train, it's just great to sit on top and watch the countryside go by. It really is something unique. The decline of Taiwan's sugar industry happened because of international price fluctuations and an uncertainty in the price of sugar. Also coupled with an increase in living standards. People moved from the fields into the cities, and the life in the countryside just wasn't attractive anymore. So, falling prices, a lack of workforce, all compounded the eventual fate of Taiwan's industry.
So, the next time you see a set of abandoned rusting tracks going off into the undergrowth, just take a while to think about the significance these tracks played in Taiwan's development and culture, and the role they played in making Taiwan the island it is today. But the real death knell to Taiwan's sugar industry was Taiwan's accession to the WTO in 2002. This saw Taiwan having to accept far cheaper sugar imports from producers abroad.
Well, that concludes a great day of filming around Hue and the surrounding countryside. It's been a fantastic day chasing trains through the fields and seeing how they harvest the sugarcane. I'm on this great steel bridge which was built by the Japanese in 1907, and it's a relic really, a testament to the former prowess of the sugar cane industry in Taiwan. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it.